Cara. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Welcome everybody to our virtual education series. My name is Cara. I'm the education coordinator in Central Zone in the Halifax area. During COVID, we're not presently offering our face-to-face programming, but instead we are using Zoom as a platform to stay connected with you. Please feel free to ask questions using the private confidential chat box, which is addressed to the Alzheimer's Society of Nova Scotia host. If you don't see it, just use your mouse to hover near the bottom and there should be a chat in the middle. You can click on that and then it should pop up for you. Remember to press the enter to send the message. Sometimes I forget to do that myself, so just press enter to send the message. Questions will only be seen by the Alzheimer's Society of Nova Scotia host, and we will get to those at the end of the presentation, or depending upon Paige, I think she might want you to ask some of those questions in the chat, so you can add those questions during the presentation for Paige. For the best viewing, we suggest that you use the speaker view, which you can see at the top right-hand corner of the screen. So if you see speaker view, click on that, and it should make whomever is speaking the largest picture on your screen, okay? So our audience today includes people living with dementia, care partners, and also people who may want to learn a little bit more about dementia and about different programs that are available. A reminder, again, as Claire had said, that this session is being recorded, so your microphones and your camera are turned off, and your faces won't be shown as well, which is important for you to know. And they won't be part of the recording. So we will have about 20 to 30 minutes of the presentation, followed by 20 minutes of a question and answer. So today, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Paige Morrissey. Paige has worked with the Alzheimer's Society a number of different times, and we're really fortunate to have her here with us today. So Paige is a certified music therapist at Heartsparks Music Therapy here in Halifax. Paige holds a Bachelor of Music Therapy from Acadia University and currently serves as the Public Education Chair for the Atlantic Association for Music Therapy. She's worked with a variety of clientele, including youth at risk, children and adults with developmental disabilities, and Paige currently has a focus in mental health, geriatrics, and those experiencing Alzheimer's and related dementias. So today, Paige will be presenting on music therapy and dementia, Reconnecting Through Song. So welcome, Paige.
Hi, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I wish I could see all your faces, but I'm just going to assume that you're smiling along with me. I see some familiar names out there, so welcome. I'm going to go back and forth a little bit of sharing my screen and not sharing my screen. So I'm going to start with this here. So this I'm just showing you my presentation title here, which has already been shared, Music Therapy and Dementia, Reconnecting Through Song. And as you can see, I'm a certified music therapist, which has already been said. I'm really excited to do this today with you all. We're going to do things a little bit differently, have a little bit of interaction, and have a little bit of music. So next, well, first up, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and if you're comfortable, I would love for you to share your answers in the chat. You can share it to the Alzheimer's Society, and they'll kind of bring those answers to me. And so the questions are right in front of you here. What brought you here today? So, you know, maybe is it your work? Is this what you do for a living? Or is it a family member that you feel connected to the general topic of music therapy and dementia? And then also, how familiar are you with music therapy? Is this something you've never heard of before? Maybe you've heard of it, but you haven't experienced it, or maybe you've been in a session with a family member or been in a session yourself, something like that. So just think about those questions, either for yourself or if you'd like to share, that would be wonderful. I'm going to give you a minute to answer those while I sing a song for you to start, because I wouldn't be a music therapist if I didn't start with a song. So I'm just going to stop the share there for a second, and so that you guys can enjoy with me this music. Got my ukulele today. And you can probably see my guitar in the background. I probably won't play that today, but you'll also hear my harp later. So we're gonna start with a song called The Glory of Love. It's all about give and take, laughing a little, crying a little bit of that ebb and flow that we have in life, especially going through the stages of dementia and Alzheimer's, as well as the stages of this current climate that we're in with this pandemic. So I thought it would be appropriate. Remember to send in your answers if you would like. You've gotta give a little, take a little, let your poor heart break a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. You've gotta laugh a little, cry a little, until the clouds roll by a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. As long as there's the two of us, we've got the world and all its charms. And when the world is through with us, we'll have each other's arms. You've gotta win a little, lose a little, even get the blues a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. As long as there's the two of us, we've got the world and all its charms. And when the world is through with us, we'll have each other's arms. You've got to win a little, lose a little, even get the blues a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of, that's the story of, that's the glory of love. Yeah, wonderful. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Great. So I'm just going to pull up to see if we've had any responses to my questions here. Okay, so somebody said their mom has dementia and they're not familiar with it, but the power of music and they wanted to learn more. Music brings so much joy to residents and staff in long-term care. You're quite quiet. Oh, I'll try and speak up a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so we just want to, I guess, general idea is some people working in long-term care, some people are family members, and just kind of wanting to familiarize yourselves a little bit more. So that's great. We will definitely do that today. I'm going to just quickly share my screen again, and we'll get started with more of the presentation parts here. Okay, so yeah, so what is music therapy? This is my preferred definition, and I'll read it to you, but it's there as well, and then I'll break it down a little. Music therapy is a creative therapeutic approach that uses music and musical experiences to restore, maintain, and or improve the physical, cognitive, and emotional and spiritual health of a person. It's the combination of the music itself and the relationship formed between the therapist and the client through the music that work together to support positive change. So that's fairly wordy. So I like to break it down a little bit here. So you've got kind of three main components. You've got music up here, you've got your therapist, and you've got your client. And when you add a therapeutic intent to those three things, you can bring about positive change. That's how I like to describe music therapy. A question I get asked a lot is, who can participate in music therapy? Does my loved one have to be musical to participate? And the answer to that is absolutely not. We are all musical beings. That's what I truly believe. So, even if we think we're not musical, I really do think we all are. But any age, any population, any ability is welcome to participate in music therapy. So why is music therapy effective? That's a fairly big question. So there are definitely some things that I'm going to miss in today's presentation, but I'll try and cover a lot. As I've already said, we're all musical beings. So that tends to be the fundamental reason that music therapy is effective. We kind of have that inner musical child within all of us. We just need to discover it sometimes. And that's why music therapy is accessible. Engagement can be extremely passive, or it can be very active, or anywhere in between. Music therapy is individualistic, so sessions can be tailored to the individual client's needs or the group client's needs as well. And music is a global experience in our brains. So it's using a ton of different areas, our speech and language area, our motor function area. That's why our toes automatically tap when we listen to some songs, and our emotional side. And there's just all of these different parts of our brain that are involved when experiencing music. And also, music therapy is really fun. So we can actually work on specific goals that are very important, but address them in a very enjoyable, pleasant atmosphere, which is definitely one of the reasons it's so effective. This is a funny little photo, but it will make sense, I promise. This is also another way I like to describe music therapy, especially when talking about music therapy in this type of a population. So folks experiencing Alzheimer's or other dementias. So if somebody were to look at, say, a very traditional group music therapy session, maybe it's in a long-term care facility, maybe it's a community group, they might see, oh, look, there's a lovely little sing-along, which is wonderful because on the surface level, it's easy, it's enjoyable. The duck is gliding along. The folks that are in the group are just enjoying and gliding along with them. But really, under the surface, there's a lot going on. So as you can see, the duck is really paddling quite a bit. There's quite a lot going on. And that's how I like to describe, the underlying goals and interventions that are happening within a framework of something so simple, something so enjoyable, which is definitely why music therapy is one really effective. So there's a lot of goals that can be addressed in music therapy, and I will try and touch on some of them within the time frame that we have. But the goals can range from everything from cognitive, emotional, social, spiritual. There's so many different domains. And especially in this population that we're speaking of today, quality of life, that's the biggest one. That's the overarching umbrella, if you will, or whatever you want to say there. But the main thing is quality of life. But there are so many different domains within that goal areas can be targeted to. So some examples of these goals are to encourage reminiscence, which would be more like a cognitive goal, maintain fine and or gross motor function, very physical, increase opportunities for meaningful socialization, that one's self-explanatory, social, provide opportunities for creativity and expression, very emotional work there, increase relaxation and reduce agitation, enhance self-confidence, and as I said, improve quality of life. Now, these are just some goals. There's definitely a lot, but I'd have you here all day if I could tell you all of the goals. But basically, each goal is tailored for the client. No matter who that client is, we tailor the goal to them. So that's why there are so many possible goals. Ways that we achieve these goals also vary greatly, but some examples would be participation in either individual or group sessions or a combination. Engagement in new and meaningful experiences. That's where it comes in that you don't have to be musical or you don't have to have prior experience participating in music to participate in music therapy. Playing instruments, singing and vocalizing, dancing and other movements. I've done lots of programs that are music therapy and physio combined so that we work on different range of motion and stretching and things like that. Experiencing familiar songs brings back lots of emotions and lots of memories. So that's emotional and cognitive. Making choices, development of the therapeutic relationship. And then one of my favorite things to do is including family and friends in the session for that social and connecting element. So as I just said about connecting, that's kind of my theme for this presentation today. I titled it Reconnecting Through Song. So as humans, we're constantly in search of connections. So sometimes, we're thinking about wanting to learn things. That's making connections in our brain. We make connections with something like a sentimental object or a connection with an experience or with other people or with a higher power. There's so many connections that we like to make. So, when we get older, if we're experiencing Alzheimer's, something like that, it can be really, really challenging when those connections are lost or if we have difficulty making new connections. So I just wanted to kind of share little tiny stories about some clients to give examples of the reconnections or connections. So first, I'll just start with a simple testimonial. But this gentleman here in the photo, I'm sorry, I had to crop all the photos so that you couldn't see client faces. But if you could see them, they're all smiling so much. It was kind of a shame to crop them, but at least you get to see what they're doing. So Dad became animated, remembering words to songs, strumming the guitar with her, and singing in tune with the melody. At other junctures, he was tapping along to the beat with the rhythm instruments, as you can see in the photo. What I saw before me was a glimmer of the Dad I had known for so many years, chatty, engaged, someone who loved to dance and loved music. Music stimulates them cognitively in a unique way that allows a piece of their personality to represent itself in a most positive way. That was just very touching to hear that testimonial, and I appreciated that family member sharing that with me. And for this client I had, he's in this moment reconnecting with himself, with his personality, and having that moment of inner connection. So this is my client R, and there's so many things I could say about him. This is him playing my ukulele that you just saw. I had no idea that he ever played the ukulele, but he picked it up one day, or I think it was passed to him, and he held it correctly, and then he played a chord that was spot on, and I was so shocked and so excited. And when I asked his wife, in fact, yes, he had played a bit of guitar and ukulele in the past, that I had no idea, but in that moment, we didn't expect him to remember those things because he was quite advanced in his Alzheimer's, but he did. It was very, very, very cool. So anyway, another thing that he did that I'd love to share, because it's an example of him reconnecting with the music that he was so connected to when he was younger, and then his family members just didn't see very much connection with music with him as he progressed. But he was a fantastic singer in his younger years, and so I really wanted to see if I could bring that out again. He often didn't make coherent sentences. Either the words were not there or the words were jumbled, which is very common, of course, depending on the stage of Alzheimer's. So he sometimes would sing along to a melody with the words not being quite there, but at least we were hearing a little bit of this melody, which was very, very exciting. And then one session, I will always remember it no matter how many years pass, but this one session, his sister, his wife, and his daughter all happened to be there at this particular session. They were kind of like sitting behind, just kind of letting us do our thing as we had already started when they arrived. And I started to sing "You Are My Sunshine." And this client just started billowing out this beautiful baritone voice and actually sang the correct words to "You Are My Sunshine" with me. And I will just say there were tears shed. Everyone was so happy to see this little piece of him coming through and him reconnecting with music. It was very, very special. Oh, I could easily get so emotional with all of these clients talking about them, but I'm trying to cruise through to give you a good idea of a bunch of different clients that I've worked with. So this client here, B, I'd like to talk about how he reconnected with his emotions. He very much had a lot of them, but didn't always know how to express them. So there was actually one time where he was experiencing a lot of responsive behaviors. So that's when, somebody is responding to something that is in their environment. Whether or not we see what they're seeing is kind of irrelevant, but they are responding to something and it's causing them to have these feelings. And then, whether it's a physical reaction or an emotional reaction, there's some kind of reaction. So he was having a moment, if you will, and I got called up to his floor to see if there was anything I could do, because I had an established connection and relationship with him at this point. He was in the hallway and quite upset when I arrived. And I think there was some worry for some physical aggression. So I met him where he was. That's something that I definitely like to do, and a lot of music therapists do, is meet your client where they are and then take them on a journey. That's called the ISO principle. And so I met him where he was. He was very heightened with his emotions. So I started playing upbeat, lively music to match him there. And my goal was to kind of bring him down, like respect where he was, but then guide him to a sense of calm so that he could feel what it's like to feel calm, even though he was upset. And it took a long time, I will be honest, but surprisingly enough, it worked. We actually got him to come out of the hallway and into his room so that, we didn't want any other residents to get harmed or anything. We got him into his room, and I gave him a drum, and he started drumming and kind of getting things out on the drum, which was amazing because otherwise it might come out in fists or something else. And then it progressed and progressed and progressed, and we did more music and kind of kept taking him farther on this journey. And by the end of the session, it was absolutely amazing. He was laying on his bed. He was calm. He was breathing deeply with me at my request. And we were singing quiet songs, and he just had some tears coming down his face, but they were peaceful. It was a sense of calm. It was absolutely beautiful. So we went from this high arc down to a deep breath, which was just amazing, as I said. So M, she was so fun to work with. So she was able to reconnect with family and make new connections, which we don't often think is possible with this type of population experiencing Alzheimer's and dementias, but it is possible. It's just maybe not as common. So why I said she's reconnecting with family is because her daughter actually joined for 99% of our sessions. So the three of us would get together and experience these together. This musical experience was always the three of us. And that was just really, really wonderful. And, you know, it can be tough sometimes for family members. I do recognize that, to be involved in something when maybe your loved one doesn't remember you. But sometimes these magical things happen. And this client actually referred to her daughter by name several times, which hadn't happened in a long time. And even when she didn't refer to her by name or completely understand who she was, she understood the emotional connection that they had. She knew that this was a special person in her room with her, and she appreciated her presence and she loved singing with her. So that was really, really wonderful. As I said before, it's having family involved in sessions is one of my favorite things to do. How she made new connections is we definitely had a routine, and we did our sessions once a week or once every 2 weeks. I can't quite remember. I'm thinking once a week. And her daughter got her own shakers. You can see those shakers in her hands there. I always brought them, but her daughter was so excited that she wanted to get her own. So she got her own shakers. And so she'd bring them out before the session started, before I arrived. After a while, she started doing this. And after we'd gotten into our routine, this client, M, started to, without realizing it, started to remember what those shakers meant. She would start shaking them before anyone prompted her to. She would then start doing dance moves with her feet that we had done in previous sessions together. So she was actually making new memories. Even if you asked her, she might not be able to tell you that, but we were seeing it. She also would get handed the shakers and instantly start to sing. So she was associating these shakers with dancing, with singing, with music in general, even though at the very beginning, she had no idea what they were. So she was making these new connections. She started singing even when she didn't have the shakers, maybe in the common area at the long-term care facility. She would hum to herself, sing to herself all the time. This was a new thing for her. We had a staff ask if she had been a music teacher. And her daughter said, no, like she's never had a music lesson in her life. The music was always present and dancing was always present, but wasn't like a formal thing in her life. This singing to herself and being so happy about it is actually new to her. And so the staff was just so amazed that that could happen. And so were we. We were so excited. So anyway, those are some stories, some client stories that I wanted to share with you. I hope you enjoyed them. So I hope I'm not going through things too fast, but I just kind of wanted to give you some basic information on music therapy and some inspirational stories to kind of give you the foundation of what music therapy looks like. And hopefully I did that for you today, because I want to do a little experiential with you before we move on to questions today. So I'm going to take a little bit of time away from the presentation, formal presentation part, to do something that I think if you're joining us today, honestly, anyone today, especially with this pandemic and all of these things going on, we can use a little bit of relaxation, myself included. So as you can see in this photo, I have a harp. That's me and a client. I was helping her to strum the harp, which was pretty magical. But I'm going to share a little bit of relaxation with you today. And before we start that, I would just like you to take a mental note of how you are feeling today. or in this moment. And just kind of think that to yourselves right now while I get the harp set up. I'm going to stop the sharing for now so you can see me while I play, if that's helpful, but feel free to close your eyes. I've done this activity with lots of clients. I've done this activity with lots of staff in long-term care. And it's pretty special. I'm going to do a shortened version today just because of being wary of time. But the idea is this is going to be very repetitive on purpose so that you can kind of sink into things. Allow your body and your mind to relax a little bit, as much as you can within a short time frame. And so I'm going to sing through different parts of the body in which you can focus on to relax them. And then we're going to take some deep breaths as well. That's basically this entire experiential, but it's all about relaxation. So if you need to take a minute to get in a comfy position, this is a great thing about doing things online. You're probably at home. If you're not, find a comfy place. But if you need to grab a cushion or anything like that, or sit back in your chair, if you want to close your eyes or anything at all that that you need to do to make yourselves comfortable. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to get started, and yeah, just this is for you because I figure there's a lot of people here that are here for either a family member or somebody that they work with, or many people that they work with experiencing dementia. And I think it's a good reminder to ourselves to take care of ourselves, to, yeah, even before we care for others, we need to care for ourselves. I know maybe if you're in a caring profession or if you're here, you're probably similar to me in that you want to care for others first, but we do need to care for ourselves too. So this one is for you guys today. I hope you enjoy it, and feel free to think about how you're feeling now and how you're feeling during this. Relax your arms. Relax your arms. Relax your arms. And take a deep breath. Relax your hands. Relax your hands. Relax your hands. And take a deep breath. Relax your legs. Relax your legs. Relax your legs. And take a deep breath. Relax your ankles. Relax your toes. Relax your ankles and toes. Wonderful. Just feel free to take a minute to come back to the space that you're in. And when you're ready, I encourage you to think about that same question. How do I feel right now? Is it different than before? Is it the same? How does it differ if it does? And if you're willing, I would love for you to send an answer, however you're feeling the differences. Send it along in the chat to the Alzheimer's Society. And I'll just give a minute for anybody who would like to share their experience or how they're feeling. At the same time, somebody says, I feel calmer. Yeah, absolutely. Music can have a great effect on making us feel more calm, more relaxed. Wonderful. I'll just see if there's any more responses there, but I'm also going to share my screen again while we wait for any responses. So, this is the last slide I have for you today. Somebody says, so relaxed now and peaceful. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. That's really special. Feel free to keep them coming. Calm and relaxed. Yes, wonderful. So we are going to open things up to questions as well. I'm going to get some assistance on that one. But before we do, I just wanted you to have my contact information. If you have any questions for me beyond our presentation today, feel free to email me here, paige@heartsparks.ca. You can also check out our Heartsparks website if you're just curious. And I do have a resource here at the bottom, this YouTube link. You can also just search on YouTube, Heartsparks Music, to find this. And that's something that we're getting going a little bit. It's just a resource for songs for seniors, basically. We have a few different playlists that myself and a few other music therapists have just recorded some videos, some songs that we enjoy doing with some of our clients, and we figured we'd send that out to the community. So somebody in long-term care could use it, somebody in the community, you know, if a family member wants to do some music with their loved one, maybe you use that as a resource. So anyway, that's all I have for you today in terms of my presentation, but we are going to open it up for questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and yeah, invite Kara back.
That was so refreshing, Paige. I'm so calm right now.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Well, it's interesting though, because your voice, but it was the music, but also you were doing the deep breathing and then the exhaling as well. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it feels so good. And you can just see the power of music though, and that sense of connections, the connections that people make. I think that's huge when you're looking at music therapy, to try to connect with people. And you shared those amazing stories, not stories, those experiences of, the gentleman, I think, in long-term care who may have been a little agitated, and then sort of bringing him from that point of being upset, but playing music that was upbeat, and being able to bring him down through the music and calming him to the point where he's relaxed and he's on his bed. And just amazing what you can do, and with your expertise, of course, in providing that. I do have a couple of questions. Let's just see here. I'm going to just check the chat here.
Yeah, if anyone does have any questions, feel free to fire them into the chat. Would love to answer them for you.
So I have a question here, Paige. My dad, he's living in a long-term care home, and he loves music. And so this person was wondering, when she goes in to visit her dad, if there was something that she could do with him when she goes to visit him.
Yeah,
What type
absolutely.
of music could she play? Like, what could she
Yeah.
bring in with her that would be acceptable, I guess?
Absolutely. So certainly, if she were musically inclined herself, like I would encourage her to do something to that effect. But assuming that's not in her wheelhouse, maybe I would, as a baseline, bring in some recorded music that. If she's aware of her dad's taste from when he was in his 30s, maybe in his younger years, that's always a good starting point, is to go back in time, see what they would have connected to in their younger years, and bring that back out, because those are going to be the memories that stay in longer than something that they learned when they were 60 years old, or listened to then. So that's why, as we progress with Alzheimer's and dementias, we kind of backtrack in our memories a little bit. But that's why something like "You Are My Sunshine" or "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean," where we may have been sung those by our parents when we were children, go way, way, way back in our memory to find those ones, but they remain there longer. So that would be my recommendation. Bring in songs that he would have connected to in his younger years.
And then I just, another one just popped up there, Paige, and I'm just wondering, or this person is wondering, should they use a headset when listening to music?
Very, very good question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, I love it. So my answer you might not love it, but it's very individualistic. So, that's something as a music therapist that I would go in and I would assess my client to see what will work best for them. So the answer will be different for everyone. So the pros and cons, the pro is that they can kind of be immersed in the music. The quality is likely going to be better on a headset. And you're also not getting a lot of other sounds, because often we're in environments in which there's so much sound. And that can be very alarming, especially to somebody who is experiencing a dementia and they can't identify those sounds anymore. So the door slamming shut, they can't recognize, oh, that was a door, everything is okay. They just go into fight or flight. So, having that opportunity to escape the other sounds and just listen to music is the definite pro. Now the con is this concept of putting the headset on might be so foreign that it's worse than the door slamming.
True enough. Yeah.
It really depends on the person. So they might need to explore the options a little bit, but always be reassessing. One day might be different than the other. One day might work with the headset. One day you might need a speaker instead. But I would say if you're using a speaker, try and go to a separate room where there's less sound. We don't want to be using music as, somebody said this phrase to me and I love it, as a sound perfume. We don't want to try, right?
Yeah, I like that. That's a great analogy. Yeah.
Other sounds. That's not going to work. That's not going to be effective. We need to bring down those other sounds before we introduce music, because otherwise we're just trying to cover up things and that's not going to be as therapeutic. So that's my tangent on earphones or no.
Excellent. All right. So thank you so much, Paige. This was amazing. Every time I see and hear you, I learn something new, something different. So I really appreciate that. And I'm sure our audience today appreciates that as well. What we're going to do actually, Paige, for all of our sessions, we have a little poll. So please, you'll see that popping up on your screen very shortly. So please take a minute to respond to that poll. And for those of you who are actually tuning in today, please feel free to write in your comments or your suggestions for topics for the future as well. And we've got up on our screen here the 1-800 number for our info line. There we go. So the larger screen there. So again, just to let you know that if you wanted to talk confidentially about something specific, whether it's a strategy or if you're looking for more information, please do give us a call at the Alzheimer's Society. Also, the session today was recorded and it will be hosted on our Alzheimer's Society of Nova Scotia YouTube channel so that you can watch it again. You can share it with family members. You can share it with friends as well. Or use it as a teaching tool if you'd like to. So you can see Paige's, please feel free to, Paige's YouTube presentation will be up, I think, within the next week or so you can revisit Paige's presentation as well. We thank you so much for coming in today. And yeah, we're just going to leave the chat open a little bit longer. If you have any extra questions, please feel free to add those in there. The poll is up. Feel free to respond to that. And thank you all. Thank you so much, Paige, for coming in today and talking about music therapy and the connections that you've made with your clients. And we all hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. And we'll see you again with our virtual series. So take care, everybody.